Hey, I'm Andre.
And I'm David.
Welcome back to Let's Go to the Movies. This is the podcast where we don't tell you what movie we're watching until you start listening. So this week it is a doubleheader for the Valentine's month because last week we had scheduling conflicts. So we're going through Jesus's pick and then my pick. So Jesus, who is unfortunately not here, decided to go with the Netflix original Always Be My Maybe, which I guess that was like 2019 or 2020.
I think so.
Or
yeah.
it was.
Let me check.
It was pretty recent. It's the rom-com that has
Ali Long and
Ali
Randall
Long.
Park.
There you go, Randall Park. I forgot his name. Okay, Ali Wong and Randall Park. Ali Wong, who I don't know if you've seen any of her stand-up, David, but she's like has quite a few specials on Netflix. I think either 2 or 3.
Okay.
Becoming prolific there at least, and I think she's kind of funny. I think
Yeah.
that she held that up here.
I quite enjoyed Always Be My Maybe. I thought it was really good. I thought
Yeah.
it was a real cute movie, fun pick. I actually wrote notes down so I would remember my thoughts on it because I was immediately enjoying it
Nice,
right off
nice.
the bat. Yeah, I thought that it had like a good opener that was like kind of unique, but it's still like a cheesy rom-com. So it's like not a perfect, amazing movie, but I don't know. I also thought a lot of the humor landed.
It's
which
true.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I was surprised. Honestly, with Netflix, their stuff is usually hit or miss for like comedy-wise when it comes to like feature-length stuff. So I was pleasantly surprised that a lot of the comedy was, first of all, not topical in terms of like they weren't trying to make jokes about pop culture stuff, which always, once you watch it the next year, it's terrible. So grateful they didn't go down that. Yeah. And so I think it was Randall Park and Ali Wong who like they both wrote it with one other person. So that's, I guess, in part what makes it better because they are aware of how comedy works as comedians. It's not just some random
aware of
writer.
comedy.
Exactly. It's not just some random writer for Netflix that's like, oh, I know what's going to get those young folks wanting to tune in.
Yeah.
Thank God it wasn't like that.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I think that them writing their roles and things like that really helped with it, played to its strengths, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They wrote a little bit of themselves and their characters, which was great. And I thought the writing was like fairly well done.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that I didn't know about until I saw the movie was that they used Randall Park's like rap, not career, but his like kind of side hustle, because he has rapped in his like, it's like his thing. I think he was in university or high school. He was part of like a rap group, and it's exactly the style that he had in the movie. And there's a bunch of videos of him freestyling with David Diggs, him and it's 2 other guys I can't remember. Oh, the guy who rapped in Pitch Perfect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one guy. That one guy.
So one guy I can't remember the name of.
Exactly. I feel bad.
Was he in Free Guy?
I honestly haven't seen Free Guy, so he might have been.
Oh, okay.
He was in Tick Tick Boom. That's the other thing I remember him. He was like he was in the that weird like businessy type meeting to like come up with an idea for a product.
Okay, I think I'm thinking of the right guy then.
Yeah. Anyway, so like he. There's videos of them rapping together, and Randall Park's style is so like sophisticated, I guess. Like he just enunciates every single thing.
Yeah.
And I just love that. So the way that they had that implicated in the movie, and it's like his actual style written in with his band. I was like, oh, that's cool. But at first,
it was cool. It was cute. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. And at first though, until like a good minute into the first time that we hear them playing music, I thought it was bad. Like,
really?
I thought that I was just like, something's off here. And then I see Ali Wong and Veronica as the other character, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
They were like, oh, this is so amazing. I was like, what? And then finally Randall started rapping like more, and it was like more on beat. And I was like, okay, now it's good. Now it's, I don't know what was going on for those first minute of music, whatever. It was bizarre. But there's one I agree with you. I did enjoy it as well. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was fun. My roommate, Laura, who, for those who have listened, was on episode 3, couldn't even get through the first 20 minutes.
Really?
We didn't watch it together, but I asked her, because I know she loves rom-coms. I was like, hey, I have to watch this for the podcast. Would you want to join? She's like, absolutely fucking not. I do not want to watch that movie. I was like, oh.
Interesting.
Jeez, okay. So I went into it being like, oh God, this might not be good at all. But my one qualm, I'm looking at my notes.
Okay.
It's edited like a TV show. Or
yeah, a little bit.
The transition bits, it felt like an episode of Kim's Convenience.
I've never seen Kim's Convenience. However, I do know what you're talking about. A lot of the transitions and the establishing shots, kind of cringy, if you ask me, just a little bit. Because I thought that a bunch of the editing was like, not a bunch, but like at the beginning part, the editing with like the little photographs, like showing what they look like now and then moving backwards in time.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute. And I thought that was
fun.
like fun.
Yeah.
But then it kind of ruins it with like the putting it in squares and moving them across the screen. But I wasn't a fan of the transitions.
That's the only bit. That's like the part that kind of like threw me out of it. Like the whole premise of, oh God, what's the something of disbelief that gets you into the story? I can't.
Suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief. Yeah. There you go. Oh my God, I'm a fucking English student. I should know that. Anyway, this like, I'm just completely thrown out whenever I saw that, because it's just like really quickened shots of people walking down the streets of San Francisco, and I'm like, this feels like an establishing shot for a sitcom. Like it feels like we're about to go into like a coffee shop, and it's gonna be like, everybody's sitting on couches, they're all about goofing off, having fun. Like I was just
a bunch of stock footage.
Yeah, like, it was bizarre, and so that part I was like, that's, if I could just fix anything, it's like, hey, maybe have no transitional shots and just an establishing one, and like shorten that down instead of like, because it was like a good 10 to 20 seconds every time, and I was like, this is
it was like they were trying to stylize it, but it was kind of useless to stylize it, and it just didn't land, I guess.
For sure. And like, I mean, that's my one, that was the one thing I wrote down. Like otherwise I think everything was pretty well done. I like the fact that they still played the relatively younger versions of themselves.
Yes, I love when switched people do that. That's one of my favorite things. Did I write that down? I can't remember if I wrote it down. Oh yeah, love young person makeup in rom-coms. Big fan. Yeah. I just think it's so funny, and it can be really stupid, and it depends on how old the people are. But I thought it was like, I don't know, very well done compared to some other shit I've seen, and it was very fun. Like they were just having fun with it.
For sure.
I don't know.
I mean, with Randall Parks like being aged down, I couldn't, like, I could tell that he was young, but I couldn't tell why. And I thought that was really, that's what impressed me with that one. Ali Wong, I was like, okay, yeah, she's got braces, and she's wearing bigger glasses. She's young. But for Randall, I was like, I can't tell.
They smoothed his skin. Like,
yeah, I was like, what did they do? Like, I was thrown off, but I really enjoyed that too. So if only Jesus was here, he'd be able to explain why he chose this one. But
I have his notes.
Yeah, I'm looking at that as well. He did say that this is the first and only rom-com he ever genuinely liked.
Oh, okay.
So that explains his like very poor review of Valentine's Day in our last episode. And if you were here, he'd probably give my pick also a very poor score. Yeah, and the twist in the middle wasn't expected, and it seemed like it was going one direction that was jarring, but it made another huge turn near the end. The twist in the middle, I'm guessing he's talking about Keanu.
Yeah, where like it looks like they're about to fit together, and then they don't. Yeah. And then they do fit together, and then they don't. Like.
Yeah, exactly. So like that whole, I guess that does make sense. I haven't seen like rom-coms that play with like will they, won't they so like many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I know what you mean.
Often it's build up to one moment of here's the deciding factor, but Always Be My Maybe kind of had that like twice, maybe 3 times, if you could argue.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like with other rom-coms, it's like a build up to, oh my god, the clashing, and then they separate, and then they're like, but I love them, and then they love each other, and then
there you go.
it's like, let's be loving together all the time.
Exactly.
Um, I actually, okay, so I am just looking through my notes right now. I love Marcus's dad. I thought Marcus's dad was really funny.
He's so funny.
I thought the cast was just great. Speaking of the cast, the character Veronica, Ali Wong's best friend in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought that she was actually funny and useful. A lot of the time, like, I find the best friend character to just be kind of useless and just there for some sort of funny commentary, but it seemed like Veronica was really trying to push Ali Wong and Randall Park together a lot of the time. She was trying to show them what they've been missing. She was making genuinely funny jokes. Yeah, so I wrote down Veronica, best friend, is actually useful and funny, and I love her.
She was great, honestly.
Yeah.
A very, very interesting character. And I like how, I mean, I just wish that we saw her a tiny bit more in the growing up bits, because we see her in one scene for like 10, 20 seconds, and then we just only understand that it's the same character when Randall Park's character Marcus sees her and is like, Veronica, so good to see you. Then we can like clue in. But like if we saw,
I wrote that down. He says, you lost all your piercings, and she goes, not all of them. And I thought that was a really funny joke.
That was pretty good. They have quite a lot of like good, more adult humor in this movie.
Yeah.
Compared to like many other rom-coms. I mean, then again, most famous rom-coms, the adult humor is just misogynistic. So
yeah. I liked Tony, I think his name was, one of Randall Park's friends, and the same actor who was in Deadpool. I don't know his name, unfortunately, but he says, I'm an LGBTQ plus ally. Love is love, and then I think he says, thank you for your service.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is amazing. I thought that was really funny. Yeah, I loved that. I loved the humor. I thought the humor, like, not all of the humor landed for me.
Yeah.
I'm never a fan of the humor where it's like, oh, look at these millennials who dress funny and are like super vegan and weird and gatekeepy and Los Angeles like is the best word I can use, is like where they make fun of young people by making them look like they're pretentious all the time and care too much.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, there was that's just Jenny's character. Jenny. Or was that
one was that again?
The girlfriend?
Oh, yes, Randall Park's ex-girlfriend.
Now ex-girlfriend. Yes. I mean, that was just the epitome of that character. And the second that we saw her come on to the screen, I was like, I know where this is going. And
yeah, I was like.
And I was grateful that Tony acknowledged it and just walked out of the scene. He was like, I don't want to interact with this character. I'm gonna leave. And so I'm like, yes. Why can't we follow Tony right now? I don't want to see these interactions.
Yeah. Just another thing I didn't like about the movie. This is the most nitpicky thing, but it's another thing that comes up in lots of things. But I hate when Netflix movies mention Netflix in them.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's such a like pat on the back, like, ah ha ha, look at us.
It's like Netflix invited you to their party so you can cater it, and then that's where, I mean, it makes sense she meets Keanu Reeves there because he's an actor. Netflix.
Yeah. It could literally, why couldn't it be like the SAG?
But I'm like,
it could have been the Screen Actors Guild or literally anything other than Netflix.
Yeah.
Or just I don't know.
I was like, okay, guys.
Yeah, it could have been a press event or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else what else Netflix has been mentioned in, like, with its own shows. I can't think of one thing specifically, but yes. Okay, yeah. Bandersnatch, for sure.
Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Yeah. And that was only, like, if you picked the right choice, then you would go into, like, a weird meta thing about Netflix. And then I was like, oh. I was like, I started to not like Bandersnatch anymore. When we
Yes.
got to
Okay,
that
I
point.
remember this now. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think that's like one of the endings, and the guy goes crazy about like, oh, I'm in a show, and it's like, oh, fuck off, Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I'm just looking at the rest of Jesus's notes here, and he says he likes how this isn't like other rom-coms where it's only over the span of a week or a few weeks, and that we actually see these two people fall in love over the course of many years, even though some parts of it are shorter than others in the film. I don't want to give his score, but
Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, he loves Keanu. He loves Keanu Reeves' character, Keanu Reeves, in the movie.
Keanu Reeves kind of frightened me a little bit in this movie, in like a good way.
Yeah.
Where he was like scary and weird and uncomfortable, but he was trying to be, and I kind of loved it. Yeah.
I'm like so glad that he's not like that. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, at least I would assume, based off. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. Parasocial shit is weird. But I mean, just the fact that he was able to portray him, he's willing to put himself under that guise for like this film. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. And
yeah.
I appreciate that. I wonder if they like wrote him into it, or if they cast him and then he just became the one, like the name in the film, or if it was just like if it was like a blank celebrity until they could get someone.
It must have been just like a blank celebrity until they got it like greenlit, and then they were like, okay, we can find somebody now, you know?
Yeah, that would make sense. Because I can't remember reading something. I think I remember reading somewhere about like Keanu being asked about it, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll do it if I can be an ass or something like that. But that could be wrong. I could be thinking of something else entirely.
Interesting.
But
okay.
If that's the dynamic, if that was actually how it was, that'd be kind of fun to imagine, like Keanu wanting to play himself as a douche. And even his introduction, I just the use of AWOL Nation's song. I was like, oh, this is so obnoxious, but it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, and I loved his glasses, his huge glasses.
Yeah.
He was hilarious. Yeah. Oh yeah, I really liked the headphones and eating the food while listening to the animal that you're eating. I thought that joke was so funny. I thought it was genius where they like mentioned it as a joke, but then they actually did it, and then Keanu Reeves is like having an emotional breakdown. It was so funny.
His whole dynamic in that one shot of him crying, then stopping crying and going back to eat more.
Yeah.
His comedic timing is on point. It was so funny. And there's one I was kind of thinking, oh, okay, yeah, this movie's like, okay, not my favorite rom-com as it was going, but then once it got to the end and we saw the new restaurant that Sasha opened in New York and the menu for it, I was like, I genuinely loved that little piece in the writing. I was like, oh, that almost brought me to tears. As okay, this is actually much better. It's not cheesy. This is actually meaningful. It's important to not just the two main characters, but to like a bunch of other ones, like Randall Park's dad.
Yeah. I thought it was a really sweet way to end the whole thing, and like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just kind of wish that the end. There's like a few like cut scenes in between the credits, and I just wish that was just one scene that we got to see instead of awkwardly placed throughout, you know?
What were the cutscenes again? I did watch them. I just can't remember what they were.
I don't remember either, but I remember that it was like a cohesive like plot line for this one scene. There was like a cohesive story, but it just didn't make it in the final cut, really. It just was split up into
I do remember that where
bits.
it's like it had the credits and then it cut to the scene and then it had the credits and it cut back to a different it was a little jarring. It was weird, but
yeah, like they could have done it the style that they do sometimes, like old 2000s comedies, where it's just the credits on this side, scene on this side, or do a little bit of credits and then just let the full scene play through. And giving it in little bits like that was just, I mean, it works still because like it kind of paces it in a different way, but it cuts the scene to kind of make it be like, wait, I have to re-enter the scene again. Like, it's not like a completely different scene. I have to put myself back in the shoes of where we just heard in between credits. But yeah, so a few editing choices that I thought could have been a little bit better, but overall,
I also
very
thought
enjoyable.
the ending was a little dragged out, just a little bit slow.
A little bit.
And it was just like after they separated again, it was just like, oh boy, oh no. And then I don't know. I thought it was a little slow, but otherwise, I quite enjoyed myself watching it. It was pretty good.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we should give our bruised banana before we head into my pick. We are halfway through the usual recording time, so
yes, okay.
I think so. Looking at the yeah, we're about halfway. That's good.
What would you give it?
I honestly would give this one probably like an 82, an 81. I'm going to go with 80. I'm going to go with 81.
Okay.
Because there are some that I believe have just in general more interesting premises. I still really enjoyed it, but just overall there are some that kind of better. I don't know where the thought was going, but yeah, 81. What about you?
Okay. I wrote down mine as 69 because funny number, but also because, I thought it was like above average. I quite enjoyed it, but I agree with you. I think that the premise, there's other like more interesting premises. Things are put together more, but that was right after I watched it. I think I'd bump it up to like a 70%. I know it's just 1%, but I'm gonna stick to 69 because funny number. Yeah, I thought it was above average. I quite enjoyed it, but I would not watch it again. It didn't have like the like a lot of rom-coms have that heart to it where it's like you want to watch it again because it really makes you feel good inside.
Yeah.
This one just didn't have that for me, I guess. Even though it was funny and I liked the performances and I liked some of the things that they did. Yeah, I think I'm pretty satisfied with that score.
Awesome. Yeah, and Jesus gave it a 90%. Not surprising because he said it's the only rom-com he's ever liked. So that gives us an average of 79.7, or we'll round it up to an 80%, which is a very bruised banana, which is good in our books, if you guys remember, because the more the bruised, the better the banana bread.
And then yummy, yummy.
And then yummy, yummy. In my tummy, wummy.
All right, so I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score to see how close you are. What was your score that you gave it?
I was 81.
You gave it an 81%?
Yes.
The audience score is 80%. You're on the dot once again, my man. 3 weeks in a row.
3 weeks in a row. That is what I do. That's my thing. I'm in tune with the audiences. I know what they like. I know what they hate.
Yeah. It got a 90% on like the critics reviews.
Okay. Jesus is on the ball for that one.
Which is very good. Wow. Yeah. Excellent.
That's great. So now we're moving into, I'm going to do a transition a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, there's no sound. That's the wrong button.
What did you hit?
Laughing.
Oh.
Ah. Okay. Now we're going to go on to my pick. I don't know if you were able to hear it. You couldn't hear anything? Oh, fuck. No. Damn it. Sound effects only work on my end. That sucks. So the choice that I made for our Valentine's month, it's one that my roommate, Laura, once again, who is the connoisseur of rom-coms in my apartment, she showed me this about a year ago, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times since. Oh, fuck, I looked at the score.
Oh, did you?
No, that's critics. I'm okay. I'm safe.
Okay.
That's critics score. We don't give a shit about the critics score. We care about audience.
Exactly. What the people think.
Exactly. So I chose a film that features a classic rom-com actor. Not necessarily does any rom-coms now, but he his bread and butter in his early career. Matthew McConaughey.
My man.
The man.
All right,
the myth and the legend. All right. You know, from 2003, I chose How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So I didn't rewatch it for this just because I forgot, but
I didn't either.
Okay, so I saw it I think I saw it a few months ago, and that was the last time I saw it, which is enough.
I saw it in October-ish.
Okay, yeah.
Which isn't too far away.
Not too far away. I remember most of it because I've seen it a few times.
So, not gonna lie, when you first mentioned this was your pick, I immediately thought of Failure to Launch, which is another Matthew McConaughey.
Isn't that the really
rom-com.
bad one?
Because
there's one that was
I like Failure to Launch way better than How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That's just my personal opinion.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So when I remembered that How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is a completely different movie, I was like, oh shit, I didn't watch that one. And then I realized that both my sister and I, we watched both of them in like the span of a week from each other when it was back in October. So I did see it.
Nice. Yeah.
And I did a little bit of a review of like some things that happened, but
yeah, exactly. So the reason, if we forgot to do a synopsis of Always Be My Maybe, oh well. I'll do one for How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, very, very briefly. I'm just going to read the one off Google. An advice columnist, Andy Anderson, tries pushing the boundaries of what she can write about in her new piece about how to get a man to leave you in 10 days. Her editor loves it, and Andy goes off to find a man she can use for the experiment. That's when we meet Ben Barry, who's Matthew McConaughey, who is so confident in his romantic prowess that he thinks he can make any woman fall in love with him in 10 days. And when they meet, who knows what happens? Who knows? But the premise is like they're both trying to screw the other over without the other knowing.
Yeah.
And they both have like their own
They're
betting
both
pools.
trying. Yeah. They're both getting into a fake relationship for their own selfish reasons.
Yeah, to win money or to win a position higher up in their company. And I think that as a premise, I love that because, I mean, there is the whole thing of betrayal. It kind of feels like the Mr. and Mrs. Smith type dynamic where they're both kind of have their own prerogative and the others don't know yet. And when it is revealed, it's like this huge thing. And I think that just, as a premise, is very comical because we can have them both doing things that make the other's position easier or harder and vice versa. And it's just, so good. I'm talking very vaguely because I remember very little plot points, but...
Well, the genius part of it is he is trying his best to reel her in and keep her.
Mm-hmm.
And she is doing her best to seem obsessed and awful and drive him away. So it's this crazy dynamic of one is like barely holding on and the other person is pushing as hard as they can away. And then they fall in love. Then they become genuine with each other and it's super weird and funny. It's very chaotic. It's very chaotic a lot of the time though.
Oh, just hit my fucking desk. Oops. And I will say though that like Kate Hudson's, who plays Andy Anderson, the main love interest of Matthew McConaughey's, the way that she acts in like the crazy quote unquote stuff that she does in this movie, it just feels like stuff that you would do in a relationship months down the road or like a couple years in or something where it's like more stable. And so she's just trying to
when you
jump
get comfortable
the gun
with each other.
Yeah, so she's just jumping the gun, getting there so quick, which I would argue is what fucks them over because she tries to be so close to him that it ends up working against their favor and brings them together. And it's like, I don't know if that would work in real life. I doubt it, but it's like basically skipping so many steps and then you're just making catch up and playing catch up, and then they do, which is what's fun. They're making ketchup, they're making mustard, they're busy churning a bunch of shit in the kitchen. That's the whole movie.
I genuinely, if somebody did do this experiment in real life, I would be so intrigued, and I would hope that they would make a documentary about it.
I would love that. That would be so good.
It'd be insane, but I would watch the shit out of that because that sounds crazy. But I do have to say, I don't think that they would fall in love in real life. I
No.
think that they would probably hate each other. Or one of whoever's not doing the experiment knowingly would probably get very probably have to go to therapy, some sort of shit like that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's kind of reminding me of When Harry Met Sally, which was an episode that we did months ago. Like, I don't even remember. Maybe last spring, I think it was. And that movie ends with Harry and Sally together. And I partially disagree with it because it just doesn't make sense. With this one, it's teetering around abuse and manipulation, to varying degrees. I don't know. It's weird. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
And so
Not
just
to
that
move
part.
this about. Sorry, no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say that part makes it seem like they shouldn't be together, but I'm still happy that they do end up together. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's the mystery of it all.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a lot of these rom-coms are like weirdly okay. So in this case, I feel like they were both in the wrong. I think they were both just manipulating each other, and it was really like no bueno if this was a realistic situation. But for example, in Failure to Launch, another Matthew McConaughey movie, he just gets manipulated, like straight up. He just gets
Really?
manipulated, and
I haven't seen
like
that one, so I don't know what it's about.
the premise of it is basically Matthew McConaughey lives with his parents. He's 30. He lives with his parents, and his parents want him to move out. And there's this specialist lady, Sarah Jessica Parker, who comes in and she pretends to basically date these men so they move out and they like grow up, and then she dumps them.
Oh,
yes.
God.
And so his parents hire her to date him to make him move out.
That's just manipulation. That's
It's
insane.
just manipulation. Can I spoil some of this for you?
Please do. This is fucking crazy.
It later comes out in the movie that the only reason why he is at home all the time is because he had a girlfriend, like he had a fiance or somebody he was really in love with, who had a son that he still hangs out with, but she died. And so he's still like mourning her and grieving. And that's why he's at home. And then they're like, we want you out of the house. And it's like, fair, but Jesus, you don't have to go about this crazy way of doing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then he finds out and he fucking roasts them. And then he runs out of the house. And then Sarah Jessica Parker's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. By the way, Sarah Jessica Parker has sex with him to convince him that like they're a couple and that he shouldn't dump her before that she can convince him to move out.
Wait.
Which she even says is wrong and she doesn't do with her clients, and then she does it.
Like, this is earlier in the movie. This is not after he finds out.
This is before he finds out. Yeah. Insane movie. I love that movie though. It's a great one.
It's need to watch it now. That's insane. Yeah. Holy shit. I don't know why I've never heard of that. I just heard that it was not good.
So Bradley Cooper's in it.
Bradley Cooper. What the fuck?
Bradley Cooper.
The Coopster
again. The guy's name, but
the Coopster again. He's returned.
The Coopster.
The Coopster. Holy shit.
But yeah, this isn't about that movie, but that's a crazy movie. I love that movie.
That's wild. That's a worthwhile tangent. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was. Failure to Launch was 3 years after How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So clearly, the quality of rom-coms that he was in started to become more and more out of the box.
Yeah, I guess.
If you could say. But, back to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Just the way that the characters are introduced, it's very bizarre. She's working for Woman's Magazine. He's working for sports. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, sports. Let's go.
And then it's like, he's trying to get laid. She's trying to break hearts. And it's like, okay, it's a little bizarre, but I can look by it for the sake of an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, there's so many little things that are in the dynamics of it. Going to meet his parents with her at Long Island, that whole sequence of scenes I think is very fun. We get to see banter
It's cute.
between
Yeah.
we get to see banter between her and the family, how she's kind of already fits in with them because she acts in similar ways to them. I love that. That's like just good fun. It feels more genuine. And so there's like small moments of I was about to say genuinity. That's not a word. Of what is the genuinity? Genuinity.
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 I don't know.
Genuinity. Um
Yeah.
that makes everything else just seem out of place. Like
Genuinity was right.
Genuinity is a word? Holy shit. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I was confused because I thought that was one.
Okay.
Fire. Sorry. Go ahead. Proceed.
Yeah. So like just the genuinity of certain. Oh, I don't want to say it anymore.
Genuinity.
Oh God.
It's such a weird word.
It doesn't feel right when I'm saying it. Whatever. But with that, fuck, I can't think of anything other than that word now. Oh my God. But okay, interjecting the movie with like scenes that are quite genuine, meeting the family. I think some of the dynamics at one of the basketball games. I think that's another scene that feels pretty honest and stuff. Just normal relationship dynamics that you would see. I really enjoy that, and mixing that between the crazy shit that they do.
Yeah.
I think it's just like putting like a cherry on top.
That's what makes the movie work.
Yeah, exactly. Like without that, it would just be weird. Would I enjoy it if Matthew McConaughey's character also did insane shit too? Yeah. Kate Hudson kind of did carry the ball on like the insane shit in the relationship.
Yeah.
So kind of, and I guess that it's like kind of like the straight man and like the funny man for like a comedy duo type deal. It kind of would fit that trope. But I wanted to see him doing weird shit to like try to make her like fall in love with him more. I don't know what that would mean, but like I just wish that there was like more back and forth of who has like the power of crazy or who has the power of doing weird shit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting that you say that because I was just thinking, yeah, it would be interesting to see him be just as crazy, but to try to get her to fall in love with him. But I think that like maybe what the thing is that works about it is that she's very much like playing off of these stereotypes that like women are crazy and things like that, and then
he just rolls with it.
She's using them to torture this man who is genuinely just trying to use her for a bet.
Yeah.
And she's doing this unknowingly, and I think that that's pretty funny.
For sure. And I mean, I guess what is like the bit of kind of zaniness that McConaughey brings into it is the fact that he just rolls with the punches and he just lets everything happen to him.
Yeah.
He gets like this shitty little Shih Tzu that won't shut up. And now he's forced to live with this fucking dog. Has a bunch of like succulents around his house that he doesn't give a shit about, but he has to like suddenly care. Goes to a Celine Dion concert because that's the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody.
Oh, don't get me started.
Hot take. We be Canadian, but no, thank you. No Celine for me. But yeah, I mean, overall, the reason why I picked it, it's just because it's one, when I think of rom-coms, that just sticks out in my mind so much, because there's so many different things that can go wrong with this movie. Like, in terms of within the plot itself, like, in the narrative world. And it does end up going wrong in the very end. And that's just what I love. It's just the two friend groups fuck over each other and just reveal everything accidentally because they think somebody has it. And there's so many smaller, bizarre things in there, like that older woman trying to sleep with Matthew McConaughey, who's like the woman that will end up giving him a promotion probably through some weird way. I was like, okay. But
And
like
the therapy session, that was hilarious. I loved. Oh, what's her name?
Katherine Heigl.
Yes, God, I love
No,
her.
not
Oh
Katherine
my
Heigl.
God.
Not Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl is the woman from Knocked Up. Katherine Hahn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Katherine Hahn.
That's her name.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Katherine Hahn, who, for those who don't know her,
Okay, yeah.
she is the woman who played Agatha in WandaVision. She's multiple.
She's in We're the Millers. She's in
We're the
Parks and
Millers,
Rec.
Parks and Rec. She
love
was
her.
in Step Brothers, plays Adam Scott's wife in Step Brothers specifically.
Bad Moms.
Bad Moms.
Bad Moms Christmas.
Bad Moms Christmas. She's just a great actress. Like she's always hilarious in what she does. And so yeah, she was able to bring in even if it was a small role, like just the whole bit of going to therapy, and it's just Katherine Hahn, Kate Hudson's best friend, pretending to be a therapist, is just peak manipulation, but done in a funny way.
Yeah, it was really funny. And then he does the whole thing where it's like, you owe me $300 at the end, because he's like, you're not a fucking therapist, you liar.
That's crazy. That means that she actually charged him.
Yeah.
That brings in that dynamic. Oh, that's even
She's making
funnier.
money moves.
That's like, oh, I never even thought about that aspect. That makes that whole scene even funnier to me now. Holy shit, she actually scammed him out of $300.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Okay.
Throw that in the article.
Oh, yeah, even better. How to lose a guy in 10 days and make $300.
Alternate title.
That's the subheading for the movie.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the one thing with the movie that I think, I mean, it is they avoid the airport scene by having it be on a bridge, and that's where he catches up to her. It does call back to the fact that he rides a Vespa. I think it's a Vespa or just some type of
motorcycle, isn't it?
Is it a motorcycle?
Yeah.
I thought it's like
so.
It's like smaller though. It's not like a Harley or something. It's not a honking thing.
It's not a hog, but it sure is a cycle.
Okay, yeah, it's a cycle. It's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings in that whole thing of like, oh, he's quirky, got motorcycle, that's his thing. But I feel like there could have been just a different scenario to have it in, because it was just the whole thing of like, oh, girl move away, guy find her again. Like that's like the only thing that kind of fits in traditional rom-com-y trope that you see in like every other movie, I would say.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely other things, but like that's like the glaring one that, I mean, even if it is cute, even if it is sweet, I'm like, okay, I can see that coming, but I'm gonna let it slide because motorcycle. And that's the only reason.
Because motorcycle.
Because motorcycle. So oh my god, I keep hitting my desk. I'm gonna just keep my hands above the screen. Yeah, my hands are up in the air right now. So we are 45 minutes in. So that means that it is time for us to do our final bruised banana scores and then fuck off, I guess. I don't know.
Hype.
Okay. Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have Jesus' score for How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but we do have me and David. David and I. Me, David, and me and David. So
me, Earl, and the dying girl.
And David. So, David, go ahead.
It's tricky because I haven't seen this movie in a hot second. But I remember almost being stressed while watching the crazy parts. I still think it's great and fun. I don't feel attached to the two main characters enough to love this movie. So if anything, I would bump up Always Be My Maybe to like a 70, 75. Ooh. And then this one would be like a 65, I think.
Okay,
in my mind.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So for me, even though I did enjoy Always Be My Maybe, something about the premise of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days stands out to me a tiny bit more. So sure. I gave Always Be My Maybe 81, I think. So I would honestly, I'd give 85 to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Okay, cool.
if I can do my math correctly, which I can't, so I have to get a calculator out. 85. You said 65?
Yeah.
We're at 75. That is just bruised.
That's just bruised.
That's just bruised.
Oh, that's bruised,
That
baby.
is bruised and bruised. There you go.
Nice.
So, hope you guys enjoyed this kind of different episode of Let's Go to the Movies. We did a double header. Honestly, kind of enjoyed that. Kind of like having just a specific amount of time for each one kind of makes it feel more cohesive and not as rambly as it had been in the past sometimes. But who knows? We do have a triple header episode coming in a handful of weeks. We don't know when we're going to record it. Hey, David, if you remember the premise that we discussed with Jesus.
I do believe, yes.
Yeah, so that one is one to look forward to. Otherwise, I'm going to go and trick Matthew McConaughey into a 10-day relationship.
And I'm going to go
and always be his maybe.
Thanks for covering that.